In this video, we are going to learn how to calculate the frequency, wavelength, and velocity of a wave motion in physics. Okay, so let's begin with these problems I have here and progress from there. Question 1 says, what is the period of a wave of wavelength 8 meters at a speed of 800 meters per second? Okay, so let's note this relationship between frequency, wavelength, and velocity in wave motion. Alright, very important. The relationship between the three parameters is velocity equals frequency times lambda. This lambda is wavelength. Okay, now let's get the parameters for question 1. We have the wavelength, which is our lambda to be 80 meters. Okay, we have the velocity to be 800 meters per second. Alright, so we are looking for, we have to find a period as the time is unknown. Now let's use this formula, this relationship, to get a frequency. So if you substitute these values in the formula, you're going to have 800 equals frequency times 80. This is the same thing as 800 equals 80 frequency. Divide both sides by 80 to make frequency the solid formula. Alright, so this will cancel this, we'll be left with 10. So that means our frequency is about 10. Now that we have frequency to be 10, to get a period, now in wave motion, time is the inverse of frequency. Alright, so this will be, since the frequency is 10, it's going to give us inverse of 10. This is the answer. This will be the period. It's either you leave it in this fraction, or when you simplify it, 1 over 10 is the same thing as 0.1 seconds. Alright, so this will be the answer. Okay, anyone we go, either this one or this one. So that's it for the question 1. Let's look at question 2 and solve it together. Let me wipe below. Okay, so the question 2 says a period of a wave is 0.05 seconds. Calculate the wavelength if its speed is 330 meters per second. Okay, so let's get the parameters. We have the period of time to be 0.05 seconds. We have the velocity to be 330 meters per second. So we're going to work with this relationship V equals F times wavelength, which is our lambda. Okay, now we don't have frequency, and in wave motion in physics, frequency can be calculated as the inverse of time. So to get the frequency, it will be inverse of the time here is 0.05. So when you simplify it, you're going to have 1 divided 0.05 will give us 20 hands. So let's substitute these values now in this relationship. So when you do it, to get the wavelength, so when you substitute, you're going to have the velocity is 330 equals 20, right, times the wavelength. Okay, so this is something as 330 equals 20 times wavelength. So divide both sides by 20. So 330 divided by 20. Okay, so it's going to give us 16.5 meter, and this will be the answer, 16.5 meter. Let's wipe this now and solve one more example, and after it we can call it a class. Okay, so let's look at this question. It says a wave pulse on a string moves a distance of 8 meters in 0.04 seconds. Determine the velocity of the pulse, B, the frequency of a periodic wave on the spring if its wavelength is 0.5 meters. So let's begin with a part of it. So let's get a parameter, very important. So we have in the question, we have the wavelength, which is lambda to be 8 meters. We have the time period to be 0.04 seconds. We're asked to find the velocity v is unknown. So we're going to apply this formula. V equals frequency times lambda, that's wavelength, and we all know that frequency is the inverse of time. Alright, so this is going to give us 1 over 0.04. So if you punch in the calculator, it's going to give you 25 hence. Alright, so let's substitute the values in the formula. So we have the hence now to be 25 and the wavelength to be 8. So the velocity will be 25 times 8, which is going to give us 200 meter per second. So that's the velocity. Now let's wipe below and solve the b part of it. Okay, so this time around now we are looking for the frequency, and remember we have got the velocity to be 200 meter per second, and in this question too we have the wavelength, that's the lambda to be 0.5 meter, and we are looking for the frequency is unknown. So we still make use of this formula, V equals frequency times lambda. Okay, now to solve this we are going to substitute the values. So it's going to give us 200 equals frequency times the lambda, that's 0.5. Okay, so you divide both sides by 0.5. Okay, so frequency will now be 200 divided by 0.5 will give us 400 hence, and that will be the answer. So this basically can solve problems involving wave motion. This is basic calculation of wave motion, how to find frequency, velocity, wavelength, period, using this relationship V equals frequency times wavelength lambda. Okay, so that's it for this class, guys. Hope you learned something interesting on this video. If you are new to the channel, sure to subscribe to the channel by hitting the subscribe button for more videos. So like, share, and comment on this video. Tell me how you feel, what you have learned. If you seem to have any specific questions to ask, feel free to leave your questions in the comment section below. They will sure to give you a response. That's it for this class, guys. Thanks for watching. See you in my next video.